Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, it's time for Filipino workers in Kuwait to come home.
The ban stays permanently. There will be no more recruitment for especially domestic helpers. Wala na.
This after the Gulf state orders the Philippine ambassador to leave.
Currently, there are no reported harassment directed towards Filipinos as a result of this incident.
And the country apologizes over a controversial rescue video.
We hope that this development will not lead to further worsening of bilateral ties between the two countries.
Now the agreement between the Philippines and Kuwait hangs in the balance with thousands of jobs at stake. Former ambassador to Iraq and Palau Apolinario Jun Lozada joins us live. And later, Google pays tribute to one of the country's music icons. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. President Rodrigo Duterte appeals to Filipino workers in Kuwait to return home. This comes after the country's ambassador to Kuwait was ordered to leave and was declared persona non grata. The president says he might use the financial aid from China supposedly allotted for hospitals outside of Metro Manila to help Filipinos leave Kuwait. He adds the government will do all it can to assist the workers. Last week, Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano apologized to Kuwait after videos of Filipino workers being assisted to escape their employers went viral. What effect will this have on the strained relations between the two countries? Let's go straight to the source of the story. Former ambassador to Iraq and Palau Apolinario Jun Lozada. Ambassador, good morning. Welcome to the show. Good to see you again, sir.
Good morning, yes.
Let's talk about the ban, sir. The president already said that now the ban on the deployment of Filipinos to Kuwait is now permanent. Was this a good idea?
I don't think so, because we have something like about 160,000 legitimate Filipino workers there. 60% of them are engineers working in the oil fields. Only about 30%, only about 40% working as domestic helpers and other menial jobs. But we have another about 160,000 who are illegitimate. In other words, they come from one country to a third country, going to Iraq and work there. Now, if we are going to bring them in all here, I don't think 300,000 Filipinos will come home, considering the fact that our economy is very, very bad, and we cannot afford to give them the pay and standard of living that they have been giving to their families.
Okay, let's just go back to exactly what the president said about the deployment ban being permanent.
The ban stays permanently. There will be no more recruitment for especially domestic helpers. Wala na.
So when we think about that, sir, especially domestic workers, how do you understand that?
I'm confused, because this morning, Secretary Bello, who is on top of this, said that the ban is not permanent. So I don't know which one is which here. But personally, I don't think we can really impose a permanent ban.
Why not?
Because we are
Isn't that the call of the
105 million
president?
Filipinos, and our unemployed is quite big. And what are we going to do with, no, even if we're going to give them a good pay in the Philippines, I don't think they will come home, especially those engineers are working in the oil fields of.
Yeah, but there are two ways here. One is the ban, sir, which let's not confuse that. Going to Kuwait is already banned, which the president has done after the death of Joanna de Mafiles and then the abuse of some Filipino workers in Kuwait.
But my information is that we have never stopped it. They use third country entry points.
Nakakahanap pa rin sila ng paraan para makapasok ng Kuwait.
They go to Iraq, for example, and move to Kuwait, or they go to Dubai, they go to other countries.
So what is the net effect of a permanent ban then? Maghahanap lang ho ba yung mga kababayan natin ng ibang paraan para to?
Other sources of other routes to be able to reach Kuwait. Because we should also understand that Kuwait is one of the Arab countries where we are working that give better salaries to our employees.
So those OFWs you think, sir, that are just waiting to lift this ban, you believe that most of them, you think, or some of them have actually made it to
Yes,
Kuwait?
yes.
Would you
I know a lot. Some of my friends told me that they have left already. Some of them go to Singapore or Malaysia, Hong Kong, and then take a flight from there going to Iraq.
So tuloy-tuloy pa rin.
Going to Kuwait. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin.
But let's go
At a
back.
smaller scale though.
Hindi katulad dati.
Hindi katulad
because
dati.
it was allowed.
Yes.
Now there's this sense of restriction.
And they have to, be careful that they will not be caught at the
Tama.
airport.
But let's talk about why this all started, at least the deployment ban first, sir. We were looking at hopefully signing, the president or the government was hoping to sign a memorandum of understanding between the Philippines and Kuwait to somehow uplift the lives of
Yes.
our OFWs there. And prior to that signing is the deployment ban.
Yes.
So sana pag matuloy yung signing ng MOU, malilift si deployment
Then we
ban.
go back to the normal process.
Right.
Yes.
Here's the problem. He's looking at the MOU, the president saying that the memorandum of understanding will not be pursued.
The way I look at it, even if you would like to pursue it, I don't think the Kuwaitis are really interested to sign the MOU with us now, considering the fact that they declared us, the Philippines, our ambassador, as persona non grata, and gave our ambassador only 7 days to live, and restricting the movements of all our people just inside the embassy. They are allowed to do little things there, but they cannot get outside of the embassy. They have no diplomatic
Is
immunity
government
anymore.
doing enough for our officials in Kuwait?
I
sir, you
understand that the deputy of Ambassador Villa, Ambassador Raul Dado, is number 2 in the embassy, is holed up in the embassy until now. And he cannot get out. If he gets out, he will be arrested. 3 of our junior officers were already arrested from their residences. So I think the most important thing that we should really focus on is not on the MOU or in the deployment or in the ban. I think the most important thing is really now to engage Kuwait through a third country mediator to look at our interest and to cover our diplomats with immunity.
Who would be a good third-party mediator?
I don't think this is a problem now that we have to go back. I think it has come to a point that we should really start reviewing seriously our foreign policy trust and initiatives.
Why?
Because when we started, this administration started, we started not treating our friends quite well. The most important people now would be third country. I really could think of that has a very serious and well-respected and big influence in the Kuwaiti affair is the United States of America. Now, do you think the Kuwaitis will talk to the Russians or the Chinese? No. So
So it
we'll
looks
have a
like
problem.
you're saying it must be the U.S.
It's the U.S. or Japan or Australia or the EU. Unfortunately, we all have problems with these countries right now because of some statements that we have.
But not really Japan, sir.
Not really Japan, but then Japan is also the least in the list.
At the lower.
The lower. It should really be the UK.
Who's number 1 on your list?
My number 1 is the US.
the United States.
Then followed by UK, then Germany, then the EU.
Do you feel that right now, sir, that we have, how would you describe right now Philippine and Kuwait relations?
It's in the freezer.
Okay.
There's nothing that's moving. Even if you would like to move, they don't want to move. They're so hot on the issue because I think the hurt was really very deep for them. I understand from sources that, official sources, that in the initial stage of the problem, the Kuwaiti crown was a bit, not so serious about the whole thing until they saw the social media.
The video.
The video, and they started looking at it. They started deciphering all the statements that were being said there, including the colors used by the people.
Why? Can you
Because
explain that to us?
they use blue and gold, which are royal colors.
This
So-
is a no-no.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing around with symbol of the Queen of England. You see, you have a different system when you see the flag of the UK and the color of the Queen, which is on top of her car. So this is the same thing as the top of her car is the color that is not only respected, it's well loved, it holds the country together.
But let's talk about that further. Because of this, the President is asking the Filipinos in Kuwait to come home. We're looking at what, sir? I know you gave us a number a while ago. Let's peg it at about 250,000 legal and illegal workers in Kuwait. Do you think that because of the President's appeal, they would actually come home?
Unfortunately, I don't think they will come home. I don't think, even if you give them a free ticket, even if you send 3 Airbuses of airlines there. Basically because this is survival, Pinky. It's not only their own survival, it's the family back home that they're supporting. We also have a deep and serious problem on this. So,
but if you have the President appealing to patriotism for the OFWs to come home.
I have to be frank with you, I don't understand where patriotism comes into here. I think the most important thing that comes into here is survival.
Let's listen to the President, though, saying this, that we have the Build, Build, Build project. You can come home. There will be projects in Luzon. China will also be constructing in Davao. He's saying that magtiyaga lang muna tayo ng konti dahil may darating naman. Hindi ho ba pwedeng kagatin ng mga Pilipino yon?
I've seen the figures there. Even if the 3-4 billion Chinese dollars come in, can it really support the unemployed sector of our society who are just back here in the Philippines? Now, if you start really telling all those 200,000 people to come home, you're adding it to the unemployed already in the country, who are not, maybe not employed, maybe underemployed. Yes.
Unemployed and probably underemployed. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. When we return, what steps should be taken to mend relations between the Philippines and Kuwait? Former Ambassador to Iraq and Palau Apolinario Jun Lozada will still be with us. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, former Ambassador to Iraq and Palau Apolinario Lozada Jr. Also joining us via video call, Muntinlupa Representative Ruffy Biazon. Congressman, maganda umaga po sa inyo.
Yes, good morning, Pinky. Good morning,
Sir,
Ambassador Jun. Good morning.
Ambassador,
Hi,
si
Ruffy.
Congressman.
How are you?
Yes, Congressman, unang-una yung inyong reaction po. Number 1, well, may deployment ban na ho, permanent, at number 2, hindi na ho ipapursue ang Memorandum of Understanding between the Philippines and Kuwait. Congressman.
Well, that's latest development from the last time that I made a statement where I said we should be embarking on confidence-building measures already. So it's the President's decision. Of course, we have to give it to the President that he's the chief architect of the foreign policy. But I still think that we can try to mend ties with Kuwait. Although the decision would be to stop sending Filipino workers there, I think we should still pursue maintaining good relations with Kuwait, because in the future we don't know if we can we will still decide to consider Kuwait as a destination for workers. So we don't have to burn bridges.
Congressman, when you talk about confidence-building measures, ano ho kaya ang dapat unang gawin ng Pilipinas?
Well, for now, I think the deployment of embassy officials there to start fresh, and of course restore relations by not going into what I would probably call finger pointing on who's to blame on what happened. But rather just focus on building that relationship. We start with a fresh team there in Kuwait.
What are your thoughts, though, on the President appealing to the patriotism of Filipinos in Kuwait, asking them to come home?
Well, we've heard the President say that there are jobs here, particularly on the build projects. Probably we just have to do an inventory of the skills of the workers that are coming home. That's 200,000 plus. How many of them are going to be qualified for jobs under the build program? Because if the majority are not qualified, then probably that offer would really not help solve the problem.
Yeah.
So
But I
an
guess,
inventory of the skills of those who are coming home, and of course matching with what is needed here in the country.
I guess it's also, Congressman, no, a balancing act for the president. You have a president na siguro, obviously the intention is ayaw niyang maapi yung mga Pilipino sa Kuwait. So, because sa kapalagay niya, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, lahat naman siguro yun ang intention, no? Ayaw nang naaapi yung kababayan doon. At isa dun sa mga hakbang na ginawa niya is ipatawag sila dito. Pwede rin naman, it can also be considered as leverage in the negotiation between the Philippines and Kuwait. For us to bargain for better working conditions and policies to be set by the Kuwaiti government. So start fresh by recalling the Filipinos and establishing a new team there in Kuwait and start talks.
Okay, Congressman Ruffy Biazon, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Balikan po natin si Ambassador. Sir, your thoughts on si Congressman Biazon saying kailangan talaga umpisahan ng confidence-building measures?
Yes, the confidence-building measure here is looking for a third country.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yes, the mediator country.
I should have asked him about that,
Yes.
no? The United States possibly
Another way
coming
is
in.
really look for, there are some Filipinos here who've got access to the crown in Kuwait. We can also use them.
Like who? Sino ho ba yan? Can you name them?
Upon my thoughts would be former Vice President Jojo Binay. Yes, very close to the crown.
I see.
He attended also, he was special guest in the 25th anniversary of the Iraq invasion, as well as on the 50th anniversary of the Kuwaiti independence. Another one would be former Ambassador Rafael Sigues, who is our #1 Middle East expert. Those are the people that we can think of.
Do you feel that there is still a big chance for us to mend this relationship
Of course,
with Kuwait?
of course. We should not give it up. I think we should just really, I think I have been asked about this several times, and I always said, maybe the first thing that we should do is stop making comments. Keep our mouth shut. Let the Kuwaitis hot steam get out of themselves. And then, little by little, with the help of other people who are friends, we can come to terms with them again. And then we can review really how to strengthen further the bilateral relations between Kuwait and the Philippines. Another thing is we should start really looking at how we can foster a better cooperation in the multilateral table with the Kuwaitis, means the United Nations bodies and other international organizations.
You know, as I was saying a while ago, sir, to Congressman Ruffy Biazon, how do you strike a balance? You have a president who saw pictures, saw video, isa po, isinilid sa freezer, although of course, Kuwait is saying hindi naman kanila talaga yon. And feeling for our OFWs, hindi ho ba? Tapos, at the same time, para sa kanya, hindi niyo pwedeng gantuhin ang kababayan ko. So, hindi muna ako magpapadala ng tao dyan. And then this happens, you have the Philippine government rescuing some distressed workers. Pagkatapos, ito na, nag-snowball na ho.
No, I have to stress that the intention of rescuing is laudable. It's really a very, very good intention. But what went wrong was the process of implementing that, because it is a country's duty to see to it that its citizens are well protected.
Yeah.
Now here, and I'm happy what the President said when he arrived. He said that wala tayong galit sa Iraqis.
He did say that, yes.
That's for me as a big leap forward to the Kuwaitis, giving them signals that, hey, we can go back to the
And you know
table.
why he said that, sir? He said that because marami sa kababayan natin natulungan naman ng mga ng trabaho sa Kuwait, na pag-aral ang kanilang mga anak. But of course, meron din ho yung nabibigyan ng focus. Siyempre, yung nasasaktan, yung naaabuso, yung naaapi.
And there is a special relation existing between Kuwait and the Philippines. You should remember that we are only one of the very few countries that sent a contingent to Kuwait when they were invaded by the Iraqis, and they never forget that.
Yeah. And the President always assess that as well, sir. So moving forward, what should happen? What should be done?
Time heals. Maybe give it about 3 months, 4 months, then everything is cooler. And then we can start really looking for the delegations in the multilateral bodies, and we can start really approaching them. We should not give up. I think the most important thing now, since I have to stress that tayong medyo may kasalanan ng konti dito, let's not give it up though. And it's not, it is heroic
But you need to
enough.
qualify that. Tayo ang may kasalanan. Sino ang may kasalanan? Kasi baka sabihin po ng mga kababayan natin, wala akong kinalaman dyan. I did not want that to happen.
Well,
Sino yung tayo ang medyo may kasalanan?
Whoever authorized
The rescue.
as well as and the non-coordination with the Kuwaiti police,
Right.
as well as the showing of the video worldwide, social media. I think this is where we have to control.
So just to be clear about that, there is nothing wrong with rescuing our kababayans. The problem is it was not told to the Kuwaiti government.
Yes.
Hindi ho tayo nagsabi.
They have been allowing this for us to participate in the raids. In fact, if I will be asked what to tell the president, I can always, if some people are saying that the president should publicly apologize.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Let the president apologize on condition that he will stress to the Kuwaiti also that it is our duty to preserve and to defend the rights and obligations of our citizens.
But let me bring that in, sir. DFA Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano said exactly what you're saying. We apologized, humingi kami ng paumanhin, tinanggap, I think the right word was tinanggap yung aming explanation. Nakinig sila. Hindi naman yung inapprove nila, no? Pinagbigyan na. But he said, let me just add this, sir, he said that, but it was a time of emergency that needed to be done.
Yes. But there is also a level of protocol here. Cayetano is lower. Now, the problem goes up to the crown. So the crown should really be the one that will be satisfied.
I see. So you feel that an apology from the president can help mend?
Yes, but on condition that he should really stress to them, okay, I apologize, but I do not apologize for rescuing my countrymen. I apologize for some mistakes that may have been done when we carried on the process of rescuing. But with regards to protection of our nationals, that is a prime duty of each and every one of us.
All right. Ambassador Lozada, sir, thank you so much for your time and good to see you again.
Thank you.
We hope to see a resolution on this sooner than later.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Google is paying tribute to this Filipino icon. Find out when we return.